Hey, what's up guys? Dishsoap here, current rank 1, back with the 13.15 Legend and Comp tier list. So just jump right into it for Legend tier list. Honestly, this is probably the most balanced we've had Legends the whole set. I think you can pick anything in S and A tier and feel pretty good about it. A lot of different playstyles that are viable. And even B tier has some merit. Just to go over them quick, Ornn, it got nerfed, but still very good. 2-1 augment for Ornn item is very good because Trickster's Glass and Sniper's Focus are probably two of the best items in the game right now. Acel's still an A tier. They nerfed his 4-2 augment, but it's still the best way to get to the most powerful wards in the game, the 5 costs. So still a good reason to play Ornn. Caitlyn's only good because of the 2-1 gold augment Stars Are Born. Would not pick any of her other augments, they're not very good. 2-1 Stars Are Born into a win streak playstyle is definitely viable. Ezreal is an A tier as well. Personally, I think Ezreal is like just a little bit worse version of Ornn. He doesn't give you the high roll potential of the Ornn items, just more consistent components the whole game. What he does give you is solid 4-2 augment prismatic option. And also a good silver augment. Ezreal's silver augment is better than Laden Forge. And on 4-2, his prismatic, like well-earned comforts is way better than whatever Ornn has. So that's a reason to play Ezreal. That's good for gold and prismatic transfusion. Prismatic transfusion especially is very, very powerful for scaling into late game. I wouldn't really take his 3-2 augment that much. I don't think it's very powerful. And I would only take Prismatic Ascension. The other two are just not good. He's very, very good for like Reksai, Bastion comps, and Shurima comps. So definitely consider playing Vlad if you want to play those. Lee Sin's good now because Reroll is very much back in meta. Samira reroll, Kayle reroll, and like sometimes stuff like Tristana and like Cho'Gath reroll you can play sometimes. But mostly just Kayle and Samira. Yi is an A tier as well. Mostly just because Zeri is an S tier. Pumping up 2 and 3 are very good for Zeri. He's not really that good for other comps. I have seen people run Master Yi with Garen reroll. I'll go over that in a bit, but I don't think that is that good. Still deserves A tier. Urf A tier as well. Mostly because Zaun and Shadow Isles are so powerful right now, so just getting like a Zaun or Shadow Isles emblem is a good way to snowball the game. Also stuff like Noxus, Juggernaut can always be strong. And then Poro, okay, honestly, I don't even think Poro is that good, but I'll just put him in A tier because I feel like the legends are balanced enough that you can play Poro and still do fine. Bard and B, I think Bard is just a worse version of Ezreal, just too slow. Veigar and B, he's very, very close to being good. I just don't really see why you would play Veigar over Vlad or Yi in this meta. Pingu and C, only good augment from Pingu is 2-1 Prismatic, liking what it's called right now, but that's a very good augment. He's good when you get 2-1 Piltover, but not very good if you don't. And TF and C as well, because there's not really that many hard force comps right now. You'd rather just have more powerful items with Ornn or just more items in general with Ezreal versus just having guaranteed but less items with Twisted Fate. Draven and Tahm Kench, I just don't think their econ is that valuable. All right, now into the comp tier list. Starting off in S tier, we're going to have 6 Zaun Zeri. I'm going to show a few versions of Zeri in S tier. I think she is the premier 4-class AD carry of this patch, just due to like not being changed from last patch. A lot of other stuff got nerfed, like Akshan and stuff. When you're playing Zaun and you're not playing Freljord, you need less Whisper, but otherwise, if you're playing Freljord, you don't need it. This Zeri is going to be Ginsu. I only recommend playing the Zaun version if you get a Zaun emblem, and one of your options is Chem Tank Explosion. Unstable Chem Tank, I think is what it's called, Unstable Chem Tank. I don't think it's that good without it, and when you have Unstable Chem Tank, you go for Jarvan, put Warmugs on Jarvan, and give him the Zaun emblem, makes him Unstable Chem Tank, he jumps into the backline, explodes the whole team. Urgot usually gets your scraps. BT Titan, you're gonna see a lot of BT Titan Urgot on this tier list, but honestly you can give him a lot of garbage. Just any healing item. Edge of Knight's fine, Hodge is fine, just any Doge item, i.e. DB, just whatever leftover garbage you have on him. Urgot eats all the garbage. And then another vertical-ish comp in S tier is going to be 6 Shadow Isles. Play this when you get a Shadow Isles emblem. I don't really think it's that good with Shadow Isles Heart. You're going to want to put the emblem on Shen and duo carry Kalista and Gwen. This comp is insane when you hit a Senna. The strength of Shadow Isles should be able to go 8s at least on like 4-5. So you can actually roll an 8 earlier for like the 5 costs. You either need Spark on Gwen or Shiv on Kalista, either or, as a prio. But generally for Gwen, you just want raw AP plus some like multipliers on her. So I think Archangel is really good because you're 6 Shadow Isle and you're just stalling. This item matter a lot less. I would recommend just slamming on Kalista whatever gets you through the mid game. So like I don't even think Ginsu is that good on 6 Shadow Isles Kalista, but Ginsu Kalista with like 4 Shadow Isles mid game is probably the thing that gets you to 8 the most often, right? So just consider something like Shiv Gitsu Kalista just to carry you to 8. And then when you hit Senna, it's over. You don't really want like Shojin in this comp though, because you're already getting infinite mana from Shadow Isles. Just focus on like raw IP, tank items, Kalista stuff. If you get more than one Shadow Isles emblem, just put it on Kaisa, drop the Viego for like a Heimer. Pretty simple. Here's a Fast 9 board. Fast 9 still S tier. It's just harder to hit this patch with the Acel it pays to learn it nerfs. If you can get to 9, say like a Galaxy that gives, or a Portal that gives you econ, definitely consider it. Just Ahri Bel'Veth duo carry. Bel'Veth is the preferred duo carry over Aatrox because she kind of covers Ahri's weaknesses. Ahri can definitely struggle with high HP targets, and that's what Bel'Veth like excels at killing. And also Bel'Veth like she stays alive long into the fight. She's not really vulnerable to burst damage like Ahri is. Generally, it's Ahri item prio. And then you want to prio both their items, but like if I could go a blue buff versus an RFC, I'm going to go a blue buff for my Ari, for example. Yeah, only play this if you can go 9 or if you're just a high roller on 8. Also in S tier, it's just going to be another version of Zeri. It's going to be Freljord Zeri. This is the standard board when that you roll for on 7. It's just going to be 3 Freljord, 4 Zaun with Urgot, Zeri duo carry. Since you're running Freljord, you don't need Last Whisper. So instead, we're just going to go for like DB. The last item can be a lot of different things. It can be Runons, it can be GS, it can be QSS. I think IE and Guardbreaker, I mean, Guardbreaker's okay. I think IE is a little lackluster, but last item doesn't really matter that much. Same with Urgot. But you're going to want to roll for this board on 7. And then if you can make it to 8, drop the 4 Zaun. It's usually not that impactful since you got to get some kind of offensive mod first. For Senna over the Jinx, add the Scion, and play Heimer over Echo. This board on level 8 can easily get you a top 2. Just roll for the 4 Zaun version on 7, and then transition to the legendaries, and you'll be chilling. And then the next version of Zeri is going to be Piltover Zeri. Again, we're slamming Last Whisper here because we're not playing Freljord. Yeah, it's a pretty similar to the past 2 we did, but instead we're just going to be playing a Jason of I on our board instead of the Freljords. It's very hard to fit in Freljord with Piltover just because of how it works. But 4 Zaun, 2 Bruiser. Good enough. Level for Senna, and then you do Heimer over Echo or Vi. Piltover got buffed a lot this patch, so this comp is definitely S tier. I forgot to go over the legends. I guess for 6 Zaun and 6 Shadow Isles, I would recommend Earth Legends so you can get the emblem for them. Fast 9, obviously I'd recommend Asol, so you can actually get to 9. Zeri, 3 Freljord, I would recommend either Master Yi or Ornn. Eternal Winter is good on Sedge, Trickster's Glass is good on Zeri, Snipers is good on Zeri, and Death Defiance is good on Urgot. For Piltover Zeri, I guess I could recommend Pingu, but more realistically, Ornn and Master Yi. Now in A tier, Samira reroll. What you want to do is on level 5, or on 3-1 on level 4, you want to roll it down for Samira 3 and like maybe Cassio 3. And then later in the stage, you want to level up for 6 Noxus, and then on level 7, you add Warwick. BIS Samira is going to be blue buff GS Gunblade. I think the Gunblade is, you can get away with just an extra damage item. Note that IE and Deathblade are like worse on this unit than you would think. The strength of Samira is not her damage, it's the armor reduction. Giving her just raw damage items like IE and DB are actually not that good, but giving her like percent damage multipliers as well as just a little bit of extra healing helps. And then take items go on Swain. If you get more damage items, you can like duo carry your Cassio 3. You can duo carry your like a Darius, go for Darius 3. You can do your Katarina. You could also just hit Samira 3, hit Swain 2, and just go straight to 9. Like maybe late game you pivot off the Samira, but it should have gotten you a top 4 already. Next comp is going to be Azir Lux. Hasn't really changed from last patch, but it got stronger just because they buffed Swain, they buffed Cassio, they buffed Samira. They buffed the opener basically. They also buffed Azir. So just a few small buffs, and they buff the opener, makes this comp go from B to A tier. Nothing really changed about the comp though. Tank items on Nasus carry both Azir and Lux. I think Lux is still prio over Azir even after the Azir buffs, but if you have an Azir too, feel free to put items on him. It's still fine. And then leftovers go on Jarvan. Next we have Reksai. Reksai got a big buff this patch. The standard board is on level 7. You just play it with, if you have 6 Bruiser, play 6 Bruiser, but you always want Reksai with Freljord. You don't play her with Kaisa anymore. But say you don't have Scion on 7 because you are not a high roller. The standard board, I think, is actually 3 Freljord plus Akshan. Akshan actually helps your Reksai get resets really, really well. And it's also something you could like maybe roll for if you have like extra econ or like golden ticket or something. Go for like Reksai 3, Akshan 3 duo carry. So this is the standard. If you have a Bruiser emblem, for example, I think like this can be Scion or Cho'Gath. You do something like this. Frontline your Melisandre. Play Ashe for 3 Frall, roll for this board on 7, and then level 8 you just level for like a legendary like a Bel'Veth or the Akshan like we talked about. But yeah, 8 tier comp. Reksai got buffed. Good. BIS Reksai, keep forgetting over Legends, but BIS Reksai is gonna be Titan's BT +1. The +1 can be IE, it can be QSS, it can be Giant Slayer, just any of those. Legend I would recommend for this comp is Ornn, because Death Defiance instead of BT is really, really good on Reksai. Also Vlad for Transfusion is good. Samira reroll, I would recommend Ornn because Trickster's Glass on Samira 3 is not balanced. But also, I guess, Lee Sin if you were trying to force it every single game. For Azir Lux, either Ornn or Vlad. Snipers on Azir Lux, Tricksters on Azir Lux, or Nasus, or Eternal Winter and Nasus are all very, very good. Now we have Challengers. This is just the standard version of Challengers, the board you roll for on 7. You want to roll for 6 Challenger plus Set. It can be Shen over Sets, but generally Sets is just about as good as Shen and way cheaper, so you can actually afford your other units. BIS Kaisa is going to be Shojin JG +1. Guardbreaker is just the best item with JG, but it doesn't have to be Guardbreaker. BIS Yasuo is just going to be Edge of Night +2 damage items. RFC is okay on him. It's okay if you're like going into like a lot of backline focused matchups, but Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of RC, so I prefer just full damage. If you can get to level 8 and add Heimerdinger, you can definitely play for like a top 3. I think it deserves A tier for that. For challengers, I would recommend probably just Ornn, Sniper's Kai'Sa, Deathfire Kai'Sa, Death's Defiance Yasuo, Eternal Winter set. All good. Now for Invoker. You want to play around like Taric, Soraka, Swain early, and like a Cassio or Karma item holder. And then you like bleed out a little mid game, and then on 4-1 you want to roll down for 1 Shen. I'm gonna say it right here. If you don't hit Shen, you are probably going bot 4. But if you do hit Shen, this comp is actually insane. I played a few games on stream, like right before I recorded this. I was playing Invokers and I like rolled 50 gold and I missed Shen and I went 5th and I was mad. If you hit Shen, this comp is like super stable. Like 1 Shen, you can just stop rolling on 7 completely. Slow roll for Karma 3. You can either slow roll for Karma 3 or push 8 for Ryze and Ahri. This comp actually caps super high. You get an Invoker emblem on like Ahri or something, and then a lot of Ryze versions are really good. BIS Karma is going to be JG, Gunblade +1. Best damage item with JG is always going to be Guardbreaker, but it can be a lot of other stuff. You want a Spark on your team somewhere. It doesn't have to be on Shen. You can put it on like Taric or something. You just want tank items on Shen, basically. Legend for Invoker is going to be probably Ornn still. Eternal Winter on Shen's insane. Deathfire Karma, Sniper Karma insane. Now we have Kayle. They buffed a few things in this comp. They buffed Gwen, they buffed Slayer, and they buffed Kayle's AD, and they also buffed like 2 and 3 star Poppy, which I guess help or something. But yeah, not much change for this comp. Just roll for Poppy 3, Maokai 3, Kayle 3 on level 4 and level 5. Go for Ginsu, Kayle, go for tank items on Poppy. I prefer going Radiant on Kayle, 3 items Poppy, but you can do either or. I think double Ginsu is a little bit overrated. I think you can make work with RFC, I think you can make work with GS, I think you can make work with Gunblade. Double Rageblade is fine. RFC's good, GS is good, Gunblade's good. On level 6, you want to add Demacia. Usually it's just Sona, but Jarvan is better if you find Jarvan. And then level 7 is going to be Gwen. Level 8 is going to be Aatrox, and then if you can find a Heimerdinger over Teemo, you are chillin'. This is like the level 8 version of the board. And then if you find extra items later, you just throw them on Gwen. Just the extra random items you find on like Carousel and stuff. Legend for this, Lee Sin if you want to force it. Lee Sin for all 1-cost reroll. Now for Sorcs. I think Sorcs are pretty conditional. This patch, I would say, if you don't have a Sorc emblem, I would just play Azir Lux. So I'm just gonna do it like with assuming you have a Sorc emblem. Usually you want to stabilize on like 7 and 8s around Lux carry with Sorc Sona, Taric Swain frontline. Blue buff or Shojin are fine. Blue buff is slightly better. Doesn't really matter. You just want a mana item on her. Spark Sunfire frontline is good. You don't really care about like actual tank items because your frontline is going, like, no matter who you're stacking, your frontline is going to start dying eventually. So just go for Spark Sunfire, get some armor shred, get some anti-heal going. If you hit Ahri, I don't know if I would do this with Ahri 1, but if you hit Ahri 2 on 8s, what I would do is I would actually like drop out of like most of the Sorc stuff and just play around Shen Karma. Yeah, I guess if you have a Sorc emblem, it would be something like this. So you just drop the multicast or you drop the Demacia, because if you have Ahri 2, you don't really need that stuff. And you just play around Ionia instead for your Ahri. But that's just something you can consider. If you don't have Ahri 2, I wouldn't really do that. For Legend, I would probably just recommend Ornn. Snipers is really good on Lux and Ahri. Deathfire is really good on both of them as well. And stuff like Tricksters and Eternal Winter are always good. Next in A tier, probably low A tier, is 6 Ionia. This is only something I consider playing when I find like a random Ahri on like level 7 or level 8 roll down. But I don't really have the money or the time to like transition to like a Sorc or like a level 9 legendary centric board. It's just an Ahri carry board that plays around 6 Ionia. Tank items on Shen, AP on Ahri, and leftover whatever items go on Yasuo. Ideally, it's something like this. Usually, you won't have a BIS Yasuo. Best legend for this, again, probably just Ornn. Deathfire, Sniper Ahri, very good. Eternal Winter Shen, very good. Death's Defiance Yasuo is okay. Now, this is beginning of B tier. You're gonna have Aphelios. If you can get to the board I have right here with Aphelios, it's probably like better than a B tier comp because we're playing a side and a Heimerdinger on our board. Playing around Aphelios carry is one of the harder ways to get to this board. I think Zeri is just better than Aphelios in almost every single way. Sometimes you hit Aphelios 2 and you don't hit any Zeris, so there's that to consider. Aphelios BS is going to be Rageblade, Deathblade, and then the last item is situational. Can be Giant Slayer, can be Guardbreaker, can be IE, can be Second Ginsu, can be Runage, just any 80 item can be fine. Leftover trash on Urgot works, tank items on Sejuani or Sion. But yeah, it's B tier just because it's worse than Zeri. Legend for this comp, again, just gonna be Ornn. Eternal Winter Sedge is good. Snipers, Aphelios after the changes are good. Death's Defiance, Urgot is good. Good comp, not really. It's like a B tier comp. Next we have Noxus Darius. Ignore the 9 Noxus, this is just showing the emblem holders. I put this in B tier because whenever I have a Noxus opener, I just kind of want to play Samira since she got buffed so much. I just use the tempo from Samira 2 to pivot to a different comp, so I don't really find myself playing Darius that much anymore. But I think if you still have like a really good item opener for him and like a Noxus opener, it can still work. Pretty standard. I don't think Titans is very good. I like to go for like something like BT, IE Less Whisper, AP items like Katarina, and then on level 6 you want like a Juggernaut, usually just Nasus. But if you have a spat, you can drop the Cassio and play like a Rogue to help your Katarina. So we just throw Echo there. If you go for Echo 3, you can spat the Echo 3 as well. Legend for this, I mean, I guess you can go Earth to force a Noxus spat, but I mean, I would just play Ord because Deathfire Katarina and Death Defiance Darius is very, very good. If you wanted to play Noxus every single game, I guess you can go Earth. This is built different. Decided to put it in this time. I think built different is probably about B tier. The carries for build different are going to be either Aphelios or Zeri. I think Zeri is better, but Aphelios 2 is going to be better than Zeri 1. And Kaisa. You have Kaisa your AP items and Zeri your AD items. Since you can't play Freljord and like you're probably not going to hit Heimerdinger, just go for Last Whisper on Zeri. Also, why do I have a Locket here? This is supposed to be a Spark. Kaisa Zeri duo carry. I don't really think I would play this with build different 2. But I would consider with build different 3. I played double Jarvan here. Honestly, you could play like 3 or 4 Jarvans if you hit. Yeah, Jarvan's like the best frontline in BD because he doesn't really care about his traits and he just jumps in and stuns stuff. But Sejuani Shin can be good frontline as well. Gwyn's decent. Heimer's really, really good with build difference because the turret actually gains the attack speed. Makes it pretty effective, and also Heimer is just broken. Just roll on 7 for like Kaisa plus an 80 plus some Jarvans, and you should be fine. Next to the B tier comp, going to be Tristana. Personally, I don't really like this comp this much, but I do acknowledge that it can be powerful. Oh, I guess Legend for Built Different. I mean, I don't really know why it would be relevant, because I feel like you only play Built Different from 2-1 Augment. So I guess if you want to see Built Different as much as possible, I would play Poro, but it's kind of fake. Tristana, same thing as it always has been. 10 guns on Maokai. But yes, Tristana is going to be Last Whisper Gunblade GS, and then you want to level up for Gunner. Where's Gunner? If you hit Senna, this comp's actually very good. But if you don't hit Senna, I'm not that much of a fan, but it exists. Legend for Tristana is going to be Lee Sin. Next we have Akshan. After the 5 AD nerf, this like lowered from A/S tier to probably B tier. It's still decent though. If you hit like a really early Akshan 2, you can definitely tempo around it and like reroll it if it's uncontested. You're going to want to play 3 Freljord, 3 Shurima, and on level 7 you have an open slot. Usually, you just go for like a second Akshan 2 because it's not even bad. It benefits on both the Shurima and Deadeye traits and can help snipe more backliners. But any random 5 cost you can find can be good. Urgot can be good. Random Jarvan or Shen can be good. Decent comp. For Legend, I would recommend, again, probably just Ornn. Snipers, Akshan's good. Collectors, Akshan's really good. Eternal Winter, Frontline's good. Now we have 8 Void. Obviously, only play this with Void Emblem, but it's just going to be 8 Void in level 8 with Kaisa and Belva duo carry. Baron just got buffed this patch. This comp is probably OP at low elo, so if you think you are low elo, I would consider playing this. Go for Yasuo as your Void Emblem holder. Legend for this augment, I guess, is just going to be Earth, so you can force the Void Emblem. Next in B tier is going to be Warwick reroll. This comp dropped from A to B tier because of the they nerfed the augment. BAS Warwick is going to be Rageblade, QSS BT. The most capped version of the board is going to be 6 Juggernaut, but on 7 you can just play 4 Juggernaut plus like just whatever upgraded unit you can find. You want to roll on 6 for Warwick anyway, so hopefully you aren't on 7 that long. I would really only recommend playing this if I saw my Zaun before 2-1 and it was Robotic Arm or Shimmer. I really wouldn't consider Warwick otherwise. I just don't think the other Zauns are that powerful. It's like if you take this augment and your first Zaun is Virulent Bioware, it doesn't even work on Warwick, so you're just down a Zaun mod and you're going 8th. Legend for this doesn't really matter because I would only play Warwick from 2-1 Hero Augment, like the 2-1 Warwick Augment. So I guess Poro, shrug. Next we have Garen. Garen got buffed this patch. I'm going to show 2 versions of Garen. This is like the standard version of Garen that we've been playing the whole time. Just 4 to 6 Juggernaut, and then I prefer Lux over Sona, but a lot of people run Sona just as like a duo carry. Go for Zeke's, go for the BT, go for the Ginsu. It's okay. But I've also seen people running like a Demacia version of this comp, where on level 7, they just roll down for 7 Demacias, and they duo carry Garen and Lux, and the key with this is that they play Master Yi Augment, and they take Pumping Up and Gotta Go Fast. Now, I have not played this before, so I am just telling you some secondhand information, because I personally don't think it's that good. But if you want to be a scientist and test it out yourself, Master Yi, Pump It Up, Gotta Go Fast, Demacia, try it out. Last in B tier is just going to be, honestly, this is just a variation of Akshan. If you hit like a bunch of extra Azir items, and like a Cassante, consider going like Azir, Akshan, duo carry, 5 Shurima. It's alright. I hit 10 items of Nasus, 3 Freljord. But yeah, this is basically just like, if I'm playing Akshan, I hit like a random Azir 2, and I have items for him, I would consider playing something like this. Best Legend for this is probably going to be Ornn still, just to get items on all your units. Like I said, the main things we're looking for are Snipers, Trickster's Glass, and Eternal Winter. Starting in C tier, because of my chat, told me to put this up, it's going to be Cho'Bite 'em. Personally, I'm not as much of a believer as they are in the Cho'Bite 'em. I think I would only really recommend this with endurance training, but if you like natural Cho'Gath 3, it can be pretty good. BIS Cho'Gath is going to be Redemption Spark +1. In my personal opinion, Bramble is his best third item, but it can be something like Declaw, Titans, Stoneplate maybe. AP items go on Malzahar, and then late game you want to sell Malzahar for Ahri, but yeah, you're going to be carrying Malzahar for most of the game. Yeah, you get a Cho'Gath 3 for free, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun like watching him get all big and stuff. Personally, it's a C tier comp. You just want to play Vertical Bruiser as well. Also in C tier is going to be Riftwalker Kassadin. They nerfed this comp pretty hard with the Kassadin base damage nerf. It was already like pretty niche. It was pretty frustrating to play around, so I don't really mind it being that weak. Legend for Cho'Gath comp, probably Vlad, I guess, for bruisers. But honestly, like I would only play this from endurance training anyways, so the legend doesn't really matter. Same thing with Riftwalker comp. You would only play this from 2-1 Riftwalker anyways. BIS Kassadin is going to be double Hodge JG, and then you usually want like a Shiv in your Soraka and like a Sunfire in your Taric. If you can get 6 Bastion plus like a Senna, this board's actually pretty good. But obviously it's very hard to go for this board and go for Kassadin 3, so that's the problem. Next in C tier is going to be Kled Reroll. I have a soft spot for Kled, but I think he's just way too hard to hit any competitive environment. As you hit your Kled 4, you're just going to be so far behind the rest of the lobby, you're going to be rotating into a lot of people with 2-star legendaries. You just hit it way too late. But yeah, C tier, go for Kled 4, reroll Swain, Teemo, Kled, Zed, level for more and more Slayers. Yeah, it's just too hard to hit this comp. If you could hit a Kled 4 with 4 Slayer, like you probably top 2. It's just impossible to hit because Kled 3 sucks and Kled 4 is pretty good, but you can't get to Kled 4 without like stabilizing around Kled 3. So the comp is just bad. Also Zed. I know some people actually think this comp is okay after like the Slayer buffs, but personally I'm not that much of a fan. It's going to be the same Zed board as it used to be, and you level for more Slayers. I think 4 Slayer is better than Noxus, so like on level 7 I would just sell the Darius for like Gwen and Kayle. Slayer emblem goes on Katarina. Same comp from 2 patches ago. If you natural like a Zed 2 with IE Titans, I would consider it, but otherwise not really. Legend for the past 2, I don't think it's Ornn. It's either like, okay, for Kled it's probably Lee Sin. But for Zed, like maybe Urf for a Slayer spot, Vhagar for Jewel Lotus. Honestly, I would rather just take like a normal combat augment 2-1, but I would just play Urf anyways. Or I would just play Ornn anyways, sorry. And then also joining in C tier is going to be for Multicaster. The only times I would play this comp is basically when I'm just Omega win streaking and I have like natural Vel'Koz 2 Sona 2. I can hit Vel'Koz 3 Sona 3 for free. Otherwise, I would just play Sorcs or Lux Azir. Those are just better comps. Or Kai'Sa. But that being said, if you have Sona 3, Vel'Koz 3, it's not even that bad. Take items on Swain, itemize both Sona and Vel'Koz, itemize Vel'Koz first, rated item on the Sona. Legend for this is going to be Ornn, because you need infinite items. Manazane is good, Deathfire is good, Snipers is good, Eternal Winter is good. Next in C tier is going to be Echo. I would only play this in a 3-cost reroll lobby where you won't be contested. So like everyone's holding all the other 3 costs, you can hit Echo and Katarina for free. BIS Echo is going to be JD double Hodge, and then you want like Chalices and more JDs and more Hodges on Katarina. I guess legend for this would be TF, because you need very, very specific items for it to work. But I would not recommend playing TF just to play this comp, because the comp is not very good. What I would recommend is that you would consider this comp when you get Pandora's on like 3-2 or something, and you had a bunch of Echoes. Also in C tier, much to my sadness, is going to be Talia set reroll. They nerfed Talia's mana. They gave her 20 less starting mana, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge, huge nerf to this comp. Went from like A tier to C tier. But honestly, it's for the best. This comp was pretty toxic, but it was fun to play. BI set is going to be Spark Vow, just filled with the last item. Talia Abyss is going to be mana item, which can be like blue buff or Shojin, plus like JG. Or other Talia can hold the Chalices. Now I would only play this with Double Trouble. So like, if you hit like, if your opener is like 2 sets and a Talia with Double Trouble, I think this comp is probably still fine. But otherwise would not play it at all. So legend for this doesn't really matter, because I would only play this from Double Trouble now. And then also in C tier is going to be Teemo reroll. This was actually hyped by a lot of people in the community after the Teemo changes, but from what I understand, the Teemo changes weren't exactly that much of a buff, because like his target doesn't really hit backline anymore or something. So he's not really that reliable, but maybe this is something you consider when he's actually a good unit. BIS Teemo is going to be Blue Buff Gunblade, JG, go for a Spark on Swain. I think you reroll for like Swain 3, Teemo 3, Poppy 3, and then Galio 3 or Kled 3 if you can hit it. You could level up for 4 Multicaster as well. Probably in C tier, but if you can hit everything for free, it's probably fine. I would probably play 4 Multicaster over Galio. I guess this comp, I'm categorizing this comp as D tier, but honestly it's worse. It's worse than D tier. It's going to be Reptile Romance. It's Renekton and Cassiopeia, itemized reroll. They're both reptiles. Get it? Yeah, you add Swain and Samira for Noxus for the Cassio. and then you level for Teemo for the Talia. You also reroll Cho'Gath. What I will say, this comp uses very, very similar items to the A tier comp of Samira. So instead of putting these items on Cassio and going for Renekton, just go for Samira carry. It's just better. I guess legend for this comp would be Lee Sin, I suppose. Legend for Teemo would be probably Ornn. Anyways, just to recap. A very, very long recap. In S tier, we have 6 Zaun Zeri, 6 Shadow Isles, Fast 9, Freljord Zeri, Piltover Zeri. And then starting in A tier, we have Noxus Samira reroll, Azir Lux, Reksai reroll, 6 Challenger, 6 Invoker, Kayle Slayer, 6 Sorc, 6 Ionia, and then B tier we have 4 Deadeye Aphelios, 6 Noxus Darius carry, built different, Tristana reroll, Akshan reroll, 8 Void, Warwick reroll, Garen reroll, both Juggernaut and Demacia versions, also 5 Shurima, Azir, Akshan duo carry. In C tier we have Cho Bidem, Riftwalker Kassadin, Kled reroll, Zed reroll, 4 Multicaster, Vel'Koz Soda carry, Echo reroll, and Double Trouble Talia set, and Teemo reroll. And then in D tier we have Reptile Romance. And that's gonna be it. I put basically every single comp I knew in this, and also recorded this live with the Twitch chat watching me. So appreciate it if you stuck around this far. I'll try to upload these every single patch. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Peace.